everybody. It's a little, hi, it's Matt. I'll start in a few minutes. I'll wait for Zane to get on. I was just texting with him. And I don't know how many folks are going to be joining. A lot of people have reached out individually, and I've gotten some sort of update, but we'll give it a few more minutes before we dive in. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a call, so afterwards? Okay. That sounds good. Thanks. I'm literally on a call. Okay. What's up, Zane? Senior Dippert, how are you? Rich, what's going on? As I said before, some of you got on. We'll wait until like 4:01, 4:02 before we start. And I think I might put my headset on so I can't hear anybody. Zane, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can.
Okay, and I can hear you. It was just dead silent, so I wanted to make sure that I wasn't having a technical problem over here. My laptop actually has been acting up. How was Oktoberfest?
It was very good, very interesting.
Cool, good.
It's very late over here right now, so.
Yeah. Well, let's get started. I'm sorry for the construction noises in the background. There are many houses being hammered right now in my neighborhood. We've got just 5 of us, or 6. So I think we can update everyone really quickly. So, I mean, the big news is that there is not a lot of news. The Perlin acquisition that was announced never consummated, and I think we've talked to a lot of people individually, but I want to make sure that everybody gets the same information. So, Zane went out there to kind of finalize the particulars and the details on the deal. They were onboarding him, and then they kind of stopped midstream and said, "We're busy with our IEO," and kind of said, "We'll revisit this in a few weeks." That kept getting pushed out, which a lot of people know because we've been updating on the investor telegram room, and then finally they just kind of ghosted us. So that put us in a very shitty situation. So we've announced this deal. We had other tables other offers on the table, other options, and all of those options, of course, evaporated. Once it was clear that this deal was not going to go through, we kind of reached out. I reached out to many of them, and that they've moved on. So those opportunities are gone. And so that puts us here in middle October. We've got another 2 months before we run out of capital to continue the network up and running. We're running out of options. There's no two buts about that. And although we have a couple kind of, we've got a couple scenarios on the table. It really is looking like we're running out of options. Zane, do you want to fill in anything about Perlin or what we've been doing the last month and a half since that became clear that it really wasn't going to happen?
I think you've covered the fundamentals there. If there's any specific questions, I'm happy to handle those.
Yeah, and by the way, Zane is very tired because it's 2:00 in the morning where he is. Both of us have had to do some paid engagements, to keep our bills paid, and so that's been taking a little bit of our time. I've been focused mostly on taxes, and that has been a lot of work. As you might imagine, it's not clear in the United States how taxes are being handled with crypto, but I've been working with our CPA and our accounting firm to do that, and that's taken up the majority of my time. And that's kind of the up to date. We do have, like I said, several options on the table that we're talking to several current investors about, and I think that that's kind of our best bet. But I wanted to open it up and see if there's any questions about anything so far.
Hey, Matt, this is Carol.
Hey, how you doing, Carol?
Hey, pretty good. What about the two customers or clients you talked about having earlier, 6 months ago or so?
Yeah, so they're revenue-producing clients. One was Splend. That's still an option, but they're like I have been saying since the very beginning of that one, that the revenue on that one doesn't come on until Q1 maybe, but Q2 of next year. They were a potential acquirer of ours, but now that they've seen the Perlin deal not come through, the conversations are still ongoing, and they're still, as far as I know, I talked to them about a month and a half ago. They're still using our technology, and our deal is still in place. So that's potential, and that's something we could borrow against, but that's speculative. That once the news that we were running out of money came out too. So like that, once that happens, it's really hard to gather paying customers, as you might know.
Okay.
There are a couple. There are a couple customers that owe us money. Excuse me, that went down the wrong pipe. And they were supposed to pay starting Q3 and early Q4, and they just haven't. So those are conversations that we're having with them, but they're kind of all in the same boat. So I'm not sure where that's going to, I don't want to hang my hat on that because we promised a lot. Now they're not coming through. So we'll see about that. If that happens, great.
Okay, one more. Is figuring out a way to, with all the other investors, to keep it going for a little longer worth the attempt with these potential paying customers? Yeah,
well, we have different constituents within the, great question. We have different constituents within the investor group. The large part of the investors just want to have an IEO. They want to make their tokens liquid, and I understand that. And there are a group of investors who are interested in trying to get that done. That is one side of the equation. Then there's the run the business, get paying customers, leverage the technology. That's another, I would say, smaller number of investors, and those sometimes don't meet in reality. In other words, it's very hard as an American company to have an IEO legally, period, full stop. And so if we were going to go the route of having an IEO, making the tokens liquid, Dispatch would have to be, well, there are many different ways that could happen, but one of the most obvious ways is Dispatch would have to be bought by a foreign entity. And Perlin met that bill, which was part of the draw there. And then if we get paying customers, making our token liquid out through an IEO is potentially risky on lots of different ways. And so there's a lot of give and take there. It's a very complex issue because no one has a clear answer in the United States about this stuff, unfortunately. So there's a strategic decision to be made there. But the bottom line is, right now there's not a lot of traction for businesses using distributed ledger. Period. There's a lot of talk about it, but not a lot of money changing hands. And so I think that would be. I think it would be. The question is, do we invest money to go get those customers, or do we invest money to go get the IEO? I think those are two, me personally, I think those are two different tracks, because there's a lot that goes into both of those things. And you'd have to pick one or the other. And I don't necessarily think going after customers is a great idea in the short term. I think in the medium term, absolutely, this technology, dispatch in particular, but just broadly, distributed ledger is still going to be transformative. We'd need a significant capital infusion to do that, I think. Actually, to be honest, I haven't put as much thought in that in the last month and a half, 60 days, because I've been so focused on this tech stuff.
Right. So it sounds like the best option is to be bought by a foreign entity, right?
Yeah, or the network to be bought by a foreign entity. Those are two different things, right? So the company and then the network itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Other questions? Thank you, Carol.
Hey, Matt. Sorry, just tuning in. Can you mind just catching me up to speed of where we're at so far? I was just trying to catch up.
Yeah, essentially noticed from the last investors call. The Perlin deal, I'm pretty sure we've had this conversation. The Perlin deal fell through. They basically went all the way up to having Zane in their office, and then kind of pulled back a little bit and said, we'll finish and finalize all the details in a few weeks once our IEO, they're in the middle of an IEO. Once their IEO dies down, and then ghosted us, essentially. They kind of strung us along for a little bit, and then they've not returned our calls or communications for, 40 days now, which put us in a really bad spot because we had other options on the table. We had other opportunities, and those went away when the announcement came out. And then both Zane and I reached out and kind of tried to rekindle that interest. And of course, everybody's moved on. And then Carol just asked, what about those two paying customers we got? One is still ongoing, and the estimated time for some form of revenue is end of Q1, early Q2. But that's speculative, and I don't really know if we can hang our hat on that. There is a question about whether to fund the network through them to see if that happens, I guess. The other customer has gone a little dark, and that's not surprising considering the state of the industry. And I think then I talked about me being kind of caught up in the tax world for the last month and a half with our new CPA and bookkeeper. That's what I've been focused on, getting that done, because it's all, it was all due September 15th, and now we got an extension to October 15th. There's not a lot of clarity there. The IRS and the SEC aren't clear with our CPA about what they want us to do with our taxes. So, that's a lot of long, drawn out, boring conversations that I've been having, but important ones that have to get done.
Hey, Matt, this is Steve.
Hi.
I know the last call back in June, we talked about your burn rate getting through December-ish. Are you basically on fumes now? Now that you've done the taxes, or what's the...
I don't think we're going to owe any taxes, but I've been working hard to make sure that that's true. But we've always had a budget through December. We'll make it through December, but that's it. Yeah, so we're down on fumes. And, for instance, Zane and I are coming out of pocket for the CPA and the tax stuff because it's important, and, we know we're going to have to deal with that anyway. But, there's no money for anything other than keeping the network open for the next month and a half.
And then you mentioned also, at least if the company folds, keeping the network alive in some fashion. And then you alluded to possibly selling just the network.
Yep. Yeah, that's a possibility. And especially, we have a group of investors, right? We've got 60 plus investors. And the network could launch on an exchange. That takes money, capital, and intent and activity, but it could. And I don't think there's any reason why it shouldn't. We can't do that as an American company, but if we get the treasury, the bulk of the treasury in the hands of all of you, for instance, and if you guys want to get together, band together and do this, great, or help with it, that would be great. But an American company having the IEO, that opens us up. That would get shut down very quickly. The SEC has made that very, very, very clear. So it would have to be a community-led event. The company couldn't benefit, which is fine. But that's one avenue for sure. And we've been talking. Several investors have brought that to the table, and we've been talking to them about it. Anybody interested, please ping me directly, and I can get you involved in a group of people that are talking about that now.
So when you mentioned,
Matt, oh, sorry, he wasn't ready. Okay.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Hi, Matt. Thomas here.
Oh, hi, Thomas.
Matt, I would like that you explain, please, to everybody from us. And first of all, I will a little bit complain because we was never invited from you guys, understand, in an investor call. We find this out accidentally. And now I'm happy that the first time we attend, even understand with every effort, understand we put so far on the table. But it's a thing on the side. But I would really, when I hear, understand what you're saying, so obviously the company is only run, understand, by you and by Zane, because when you are occupied, understand, to making taxes. So what you really consider, or what you did the last 6 months, understand to bring something up, understand, and make this company worth something, understand, for us as investors. And then on the other hand, I would like to ask you, and I want to have a very specific answer from you. You're talking about, understand, that we as investors, understand, as a private, have to bring the coins somewhere to monetize them. So you're still you're still insisting, understand, that the founders have a right after that you're running out of capital, understand, from the coins. It is impossible, understand, that you drop this now to us, that we bring it on the exchange, understand, to get some money back. So first of all, I would like to know, understand, which project or what you did the last 6 months, you both or the company, and how many people are really working on this company. Because for me, it looks like there's only you two guys, and Zane was on the Oktoberfest, you did taxes, so that means there is no operation right now.
So let me make sure I've got the questions. One is about the invite to this meeting. We can talk about that later.
It's a separate case, yeah.
Yeah, a separate issue. And then what have we been doing for the last 6 months?
Yeah, please, because we had, if you remember, maybe I can remind you, we had a meeting on the 17th of March in San Francisco, where I was coming there to meet you two guys, and you both, understand, said, yeah, very historical, understand, and I'm till 6 months, understand, are waiting, understand, for results. So, and we have a lot of emails going back and forth, and everything so far not ended in something, understand, what this time is reliable. So, and okay, we know, understand, Zane now moved to New York. So, and now I would like to know, understand, what you really did, because the project you just mentioned before, what you want to put probably yourself in glory with Pure Land, what was the only running project, what we give you trust, understand, you fucked this up. So, because this project, understand, is not running online, understand, now for months, and there's not even a doubt, understand, to think about to get this running. And there's 26,000 people, understand, what was part of this project, understand, and running their coins on the dispatch protocol. So, and so far there's nothing. There's not even a communication with you guys. So what you did the last 6 months, and how you will bring something beneficial back to us investors. And I guess this is vulnerable. Everybody maybe have the same question, only nobody really bring it on point. So I will do it.
Well, we ran out of money. So there hasn't been any capital to push the project forward in any material way. Zane has moved to New York, but he's still working on the project. He's still doing maintenance on the code, and he's still actively engaged in making sure that the network stays up and running. I've been focused, like I said, the last 60 days or so, doing the taxes for the company of Dispatch. So there's been a lot of administrative stuff that has to get done, both federal, state, but not just both, but federal, state, and local. And I'm the only person doing it, and I had to kind of reverse architect it from the team that had been doing it internally. And the other bit is, without any capital to do anything, it's been hard for us to progressively or kind of push this forward in any particular way. We did work on the Perlin deal for some time, and we were negotiating with three other organizations that were interested in acquiring the company. That took up a lot of our time in the early summer, I would say. And then once the Perlin deal was done and we had a signed document with them, then, to be honest, both Zane and I exhaled. We were like, okay, we've got a place for the network to land. They were interested in taking our network and launching it on their network, meaning an IEO. So that would benefit all of the tokens, the token holders, all of you guys. And Zane's team, he and several of the other folks that no longer work at Dispatch, but that were still interested in being involved, were going to go over to Perlin. Then, Zane went to Singapore, and they, within 2 days, were like, let's take a step back here. We're too busy. So we've been busy, but not working 24 hours a day because there hasn't been anything to do. There's really nothing we can do without any capital. Our legal team came to us and said, in America, you just can't run an IEO. So figuring out how we could make this token liquid for all of you without running afoul of US securities law, big conundrum there. And everybody thought that would be handled, that would be kind of regulatorily solved by now. And it's not. So again, the Perlin deal, one of the things that kind of pushed us towards that more than anything was the fact that it was Singapore and the fact that they could run an IEO, and that would benefit everybody here.
So that means you're right now preparing us, understand, that by end of December, understand, is gone. So that means that this time you're getting a little bit out of any probably legal responsibility. Sorry, my friend, you are very mistaken. And I will tell you something more. No, listen to me now, because PureLand, understand, we paid the developer. So that means you only understand what you supplied was the dispatch protocol, and the dispatch protocol was not running. And if I'm correct, Zane, yes or no, please confirm this. Zane was the part, understand, what taking care of this. So that protocol was not working on a project we delivered to you. Then as well in March, understand, we give you the option, understand, to present dispatch to the Vatican. So you'd not take this opportunity. Yeah.
We did.
You have maybe to read your emails. And then in other cases,
I never got that email.
No, listen to this. Now I have the audience, understand, from other investors too. Also, when we had the discussion, understand how this will work, understand. So if we, for example, get any exchange, understand, and get the tokens, what we not even understand have right now in our possession. So that means the first guy what will sell is lucky, because sooner who will buy this token? So the first guy what will sell probably get some money, and the rest, understand, sucks. No, sorry, with all respect, you have we discussed.
I got a question for you. What is a good solution to you?
We presented you many solutions, and all what you coming up and buying, you both buying time. And if you want, I can bring these solutions here in public. But I guess this is better for you both, understand, you hiding this, and we discuss this personally.
Thomas, I never got the invite to the Vatican. I would have been there in a heartbeat.
So okay, look, I have enough. I will on a patient, understand, we'll shut this down. I will only inform all the investors. We made a mistake because we hired a law firm in San Francisco. We made a mistake because we are out of the States. We don't know how the law that works. So we informed Matt and Zane that we will sue them because we are the biggest investors. We find legal issues, understand, in the documentation, legal issues in the communication, and there's a lot of things, understand, what's going on. So these two guys, since March, buying time. We was patient now for the last 3-4 months. Now when we see that Zane is going to New York, we have the pressure still from our community back. Understand that the dispatch protocol on PureLand not work. We going full forward. So that means you can save the money you have in your pocket, understand, till end of December for your legal stuff. I will tell you, and I will get everything. Thank you so much. So I will
no money, Thomas. Thomas, we have no money in the.
Okay. If you think, understand, based on what you both did, that you are legally private, not responsible. Okay, watch. Thank you so much for the audience, guys. I will listen what you have to say more. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, so I would like to say that I've heard you, Thomas, and we have messaged directly. And I'm very sorry. It is news to me that the Pure Land application is not working. That's news to me. And I've said many times, I will say again, that I'm 100% interested in working with you on that and working with you to make things right. Because I think Matt feels the same way. And I feel the same way about everybody on this call, that we're not happy with the way things have worked out for everyone. We would love for everybody to have the return and for Dispatch to be a huge success. I think our interests are aligned, and I don't think that we need to make something difficult or big. But if we could find a solution together, we're very interested in working towards that. You know, we're here to collaborate and communicate.
No, this time of collaboration is gone, because you did what you did. And if you said, okay, that right now, okay, that it was the first time, I understand that Pure Land not more working on the application. Sorry, I guess as a guy what is working on a daily basis, or at least indicationally, you have to check, understand if your system still is online. And then you will find out, understand, for weeks that it's not online. But I said, look, we will go the way, and we will put more money down. And if you think, understand, okay, you are right, okay, let's face it. Let's really face it. And I will tell everybody here, look, that's why I impressed myself, because I was holding by myself. I heard again the bullshit, what I heard now for 6 months from Matt. We invested in this company by empty promises over $8 million. So, and we have evidence and proof for a lot of things, for legal issues. And now we're going really straight forward. So Matt, yeah, you have maybe now, you have also something else on your head.
You know, I totally understand being frustrated, Thomas.
And by the way, I'm not frustrated. By the way, this because for legal purpose, I have to say this call is also from our side recorded. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I understand that you're frustrated. We're frustrated too. This, like Zane said, this has not worked out the way that any of us wanted it to. I'm confident that we've made good choices, mostly. I think we've, of course, made mistakes too. But, you know, like Zane said, I think trying to come up with a collaborative solution that works for everybody is really what we're wanting. I know that I'm here, and you can reach out to me anytime, and I'm happy to talk. I know you've been mostly talking with Zane, but I'm happy to talk more. Are there other questions?
I'd like to mention a couple things, maybe step this back a couple steps. So with Perlin, you had mentioned at one time, and again, I don't have it in front of me, but I understand there's a signed deal. They didn't go through with it. You lost out on some other opportunities as a result of that.
Yes.
Was there something in that clause, like some sort of penalty or something? I know you mentioned at one point there might be some money you could collect for the damage.
Yeah, I'd like to go after them for damages, but from what I've been told, that's not likely to go anywhere in Singapore. There isn't anything in the document that's like a penalty. So there's nothing there we can kind of hang our hats on. And there's also no capital to, you know, hire an attorney to pursue it. So we're kind of in a chicken or an egg situation there a little bit, Jonathan, but I'm going to reach out to the CEO, and I believe we have an investor on this call, or one of our investors actually knows the Perlin team, and if they could just open up that dialogue too, because again, like I'm not necessarily interested in hiring a lawyer and going after them. I mean, there's lots of reasons for things to not work out. I don't like being ghosted. I don't like not being able to have a conversation about what's up, and I don't like the fact that, you know, they really did promise something and then just pull the rug out from all the other options.
Okay. Well, sometimes having an attorney send a letter will cause them to contact you.
Yeah.
which may open a negotiation for some settlement numbers,
Yeah.
something.
Exactly.
And it might even open up some discussion to continue the discussions. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's worth a try. And again, you probably
It
can
is.
find, for a few $100s, or even, a pro bono friend who's an attorney might be willing to write a letter to them that, again, the purpose would be to get them to not ghost you, to get them to contact you.
Yes, exactly. And
That may be worth pursuing.
yeah, and my old corporate attorney, he's drafting that letter now. I'm on that.
All right. I'd like to revisit, not in this call, but perhaps in a follow-up email, let's say there were some opportunity to create at least a deferred, let's say a deferred purchase. Let's say there's a corporation that some group of people forms in Singapore. Just example.
Yep.
It says, okay, we have a corporation in Singapore. We are now going to take this network and we're going to launch it as an IEO, as a Singaporean company. When that happens, there's a note payable. Maybe it's, X dollars paid to whomever they're buying it from. Maybe there's a small amount up front, but I think the money would be better spent doing any type of development work to get it to the point of going IEO.
Yeah, development work and marketing, and
Marketing,
market
of course.
making, and
Right.
all of the IEO. There's, to be clear, Zane and I aren't interested in Dispatch or Zane and I benefiting from that. It would really be this network living, and all of you who have invested benefiting. So the money really is, there's a pro forma there that's just like, it has to be a monetary transaction, but it could be nominal, and the new company could be capitalized in Singapore with a group of you, and they would run the IEO from a jurisdiction that allows for it. I think Zane and I both are more than happy and willing to be involved in any way that you guys need, but as an American company running an IEO, that's just not on the table.
Right. So step one would be to do something like that. And the National University of Singapore is one of the top universities in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine Zane being the Pied Piper, to bring that from the Silicon Valley sitcom, of organizing a team of people who are doing this mostly for non-compensation and getting rewarded in tokens. And instead of $350,000 or $400,000 in development, maybe this is $100,000 in development. Maybe it's $200,000 in marketing. I mean, there could be a number that's a bit smaller that will be able to get this fully functional and distributed, and B, marketed so that it can launch on IEO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't speak to the development budget and the development pieces. That's Zane's bailiwick, of course. But I know that marketing and market making are keys to any IEO. And with Bitcoin dropping last week and kind of the cultural hate for alts that there is, the market's still dead. So even Perlin had an IEO on Binance, and everyone thought that was going to go big, and they went, So I don't want to oversell that option as like, a super benefit to everybody, but the market evaporated, right? We all know that it evaporated a long time ago. So that made everything nearly impossible and all of our plans kind of with it. So I would say that it's the best hope, and technology's there, the code's great. We've had that validation from lots and lots and lots of folks. But it's, now the code is, as anybody who's done this kind of stuff before, that code is now 6 to 8 months old. And just getting that up to speed and getting it kind of modernized is going to take a little bit of capital. So there's a lot of different things that would go into that, Jonathan. But I do think that that's probably the best option at this point.
Got it. I would vote for any possibility to get a community of developers interested.
Yep.
Perhaps only for the development experience, and they get rewarded with tokens. And if it does well, they get a reward, and if it doesn't, they get free work study. I'm kidding. They get some money, but they're not in it for the money per se.
Yeah. Listen, a time check. We've got about 5 minutes left on this call, and I just wanted to make sure that if there's any other questions out there.
Yeah, hi. This is Varun here.
Yeah, hi, Varun.
Yeah, hi. First things first, I just want to quickly know that what you're trying to tell was that basically anybody can take over the network and you and Zain are not going to get profited from whatever happens
Correct.
by whatever they do. Is that correct? Did I get that correct?
Yeah, yes. I mean, the company Dispatch itself cannot benefit from an IEO, or that would run afoul of the U.S. securities
Yes.
law.
So no, the reason why I was kind of specific with that question was that hypothetically speaking, say for example, Thomas, who just had a discussion you had a discussion with, or Jonathan, say for example, they take over the network and basically they kind of like decide, or a group of networkers or investors decide. So you are telling that anybody else, Zain or you or anybody else, is not going to get benefited. It is only the investors who are going to get benefited from it if they are going to take any action.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say is if we were working for the company that was doing the IEO, we'd have to get paid for that just because we have to pay.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about the token part of it.
Yeah,
just to clear.
I think Zain and I are only interested in making sure that the network stays alive and that people that have invested get some recompense.
Yeah. Now coming to it, Thomas, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, hi Thomas. See, I mean, I can say for most of the other investors, we have invested maybe 100K or 200K or 500K, but I just heard the number 8 million. Did you invest 8 million?
Yes, correct.
So I understand whatever frustrations you have, because whatever frustrations we have as investors, you have maybe 100 times more of it. But what is the thing that we can do right now other than suing Matt and Zain, which is a separate different issue, which you can go ahead with it. But as a solutions-based whatever right now, I mean, taking the network or whatever, going ahead with it, because I believe you are the major investor, if I'm not mistaken. So in that sense, what exactly is the solution you propose
we made a couple proposals, and the proposals was going exactly in this direction. Hello. Empty shell. So you have to get this in some valuable numbers, understand that the projects laid out to others, so that the public understand, get noticed. So we made proposals to this. But always is coming back, and this is completely what Matt here said, that is not true. Always is coming back and said, okay, but the founders need to understand this part. The founders disagree. We need this money, understand, for the people, understand what is still there. So, and this why we're not coming to a agreement. We had everything there 6 months ago, when the first time we got a call, and the call means, okay, we're running out of money. Sorry, you not get this overnight. Understand that you lost 11 million. And I said, put the numbers on the side. It doesn't matter if somebody invests 50,000 or somebody invests 100 million. The problem is here, understand, that with this money, there was made some issues. And these people what created the issues, and I will not say, okay, that is only maybe Matt and Zain. They are the key leads now, what is understand in this. They are not handling this properly and looking for a solution. I only heard speech. Because I said right now there is no operation. So how you will bring this up and running? We brought 2 projects to them. We brought PureLand to them. We paid even the developer for PureLand. And they was not even able that the dispatch, understand, was running properly. This is the issue.
Thomas,
yes.
I mean, I think we are running out of time. The point which I specifically asked was, I mean, you have issues with Matt. I don't want to get into that, because everybody have issues with dispatch at a different level. We are all talking individually to Matt and Zain at different levels. What I was trying to specifically say is, right now at this point, what can we do at this point? I mean, that's the most interesting question everybody in the investors dispatch will be interested in. I mean, like, because if you can make a proposal or something to the dispatch investors community, like say in the Telegram or whatever, so ideally then you can lead the thing or whatever. So that's what I was trying to come to now, not what happened before.
So no, first, I understand you. First of all, I said today, yesterday. Yesterday was the first day I got notice that there is an investors group and there is calls regularly. I never heard before this. So now this time, think by yourself, understand what this probably means. Why there's a reason, understand that I was not getting access. I'm okay, I keep this on the side. Same was already, and Matt knows this too. They was talking to our developers. We coming from crypto. We have developers. We offered them. So far, we get nothing, understand, in case of communication and respond, understand, to move this forward, because always it was mentioned, understand, okay, but we have to get paid for this and for this. No, right now they have to deliver because they fucked up over 11 million. It doesn't matter for what reason. And so far, they're not even, understand, putting their self in the driver's seat, understand, and said, okay, look, I will now include, like you did, I will now include all the investors and looking for a solution, make a wallable product, make a project, understand, and then probably also somebody will fund this so that we coming back, understand, on track, getting positive noise. No, what they did, they looked for an investor, understand, to sell the empty shell, and then make even the stupid issue, post it on Cointelegraph, understand, and now then the transaction bounced. So how professional is this? You understand my point?
Yes, Thomas. So I have nothing else to add to. So what I was just looking for is a solution. Anybody I can basically get involved in. I mean, looks like, I guess the temperature is too high, or maybe right now we don't have any solutions as far as this call is concerned. So if anybody out there has any solutions to be part of, because I always said I'll be part of a solution. So I can't really say per se like, okay, this is the thing without knowing any facts or stuff, because everybody has a different case. So I was just thinking of this call as a place where I thought somebody will come up with some solution, whether it's Matt or somebody else. But I guess if you go back into the Telegram group last time, I thought maybe everybody can chip in and just take over the network. That's what I told last time in the investor. I mean, I think even Rich kind of pinned up my message also, so that nobody took up. So I don't really know how it's going to be. So if anybody else kind of is going around with some other plan or something, let me know. So I'll be interested in that. So that's for my communication as far as I know. So anybody else want to speak? I mean, go ahead, please. Thanks.
Hey guys, I just wanted to chime in, not so much on that topic, but I think just for the investors in general, I think we're all going to feel much better and understand that, you know, obviously this is crypto, projects go to zero, it just doesn't work out for X, Y, and Z. That happens. I get for some who are much more larger invested, 8 million, that's a big deal. But I think for me personally, I think I can speak for Karth who's sitting in on this call, I think that we just really want to know at the end of the day that there was no financial negligence on Dispatch's part. So I think in the idea of full transparency, if we can get some sort of financials on what this 8 to 13 million is actually spent on, I think it'd make a lot of this investors a lot happier and much more clear. Because you guys, you know, raise fucked up, the project didn't go through, whatever it happens. But as long as we know there wasn't negligence, it's just part of the game. That's just my honest opinion on the matter.
Yeah. So we have finalized P&L for 2018. There's 1 month in 2017 too, and 1 month in 2019. But of course, we'll get financials out. The taxes, the balance sheet stuff with all the crypto that was invested in isn't done. That's the part that the CPA and the IRS and the SEC are working on. But we do have the kind of all of the transactions that were done, i.e. us taking in crypto, us liquidating the crypto, all of that we have in CSV and Excel, and that's got to get put into the balance sheet. Once that's done, we'll post the financials. I'm happy to do that. I'm more than happy to be transparent there. We certainly didn't spend 8 to 11 million, or I think we took in about 12.9 million of crypto, but by the time we liquidated it, it was down to less than 6, which we spent on development and marketing and this and that, and we'll post those, the P&L that has all that spend, so everyone can see.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I also quickly want to add that maybe initially at the start, maybe you had maybe a little too many people you took over, Matt. Maybe because last time I came to last year, when I came to San Francisco, you had like 40 people working in Dispatch or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a large set of developers and we had a San Francisco Bay Area team, and that's very expensive.
I said huge team, and so
mm-hmm.
that take over a lot of money or
Our biggest spend on the pie chart was definitely payroll, for sure, and that it didn't strike me as odd because that's typical of a business. And when we put out a product in 11 months, and Zane and his team put out a live protocol in very short term, and those developers were very expensive, as all developers in the Bay Area were. Looking back, could we have outsourced to another part of the world? For sure. I think that, hindsight's 2020. Of course, there's definitely ways to go about it. But to Zoran's point, I want to make sure that we put out financials so everybody can see exactly what everything was spent on. And some of that was done in investors' calls, the quarterly investors' call, but that was all high-level stuff. The detail is just probably makes everybody feel a little bit better.
Any solution that you propose? Maybe anything right now, or anything like Thomas said?
I mean, what you suggested and what Thomas and his partners suggested some time ago I think is the best option. I really do. I think that the ability for us to do, as Dispatch, to do an IEO, i.e. getting liquidity back into this token, is non-existent. We can't do it. And so there's a couple different ways to go about it, right? We could say everyone gets a percentage of the existing treasury per percentage that they invested. So Thomas and his partners would get a big chunk, and everybody else would get their percentage. And then the question is, how do you organize that group of people to make it to raise funds to do an IEO and to further the development of the protocol? That's a good question, right? That would have to be some working sessions to get that done. But I do think that that's probably the best option here. Jonathan's option of bringing it to somebody in Singapore, the National University of Singapore, is also a good option. I went to Cornell and pitched that idea around the IC3, but without capital, there's just not a lot of, without any money to do anything, either marketing or pay people to work a full day's worth of work. It's very hard to get that done. I think that's the big limiter here right now.
Hey, just to touch upon that, Matt, what Jonathan mentioned, the Singapore thing with coders coming in. You went to Cornell, I went to Cornell as well, and I really think that the Blockchain Consulting Club up at Cornell would be really interested in something similar to what Jonathan was speaking of, where we could give a whole,
here's your protocol, right?
Yeah, and have them basically develop on it, play with it, whatever. And obviously, incentive is some tokens, but the whole point is to really help, shape the learning class for creating real life code that works, and at the same time, hopefully bringing value to us at the same time. So I think it's an option that's more close to you, and I think one that is actually more feasible from a pitching standpoint to actually go ahead to IC3, Cornell, and be like, hey guys, this is what we have. It's a gesture of goodwill. We want to open this up to students, whoever else, and kind of take it from there. So I think that's the really actionable thing currently in my mind.
So I did that. I actually went to, I did back in April or May. I'll have to look at my notes, but I did, and they were so inundated with options and opportunities that they just didn't follow up. And I followed up several times, but they were just getting hammered with so much noise that it was hard. And I'm on the board there for the entrepreneurship program, and so I had a little more access to the right people to talk to. It just didn't go anywhere. IC3 is also like a whole different beast. But I went to the student blockchain coding club, and they were putting on an event, and it just wasn't going anywhere. I did recently talk to RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute's blockchain club, and got a little traction with them. That's not a net benefit to the investors, but it does keep the protocol alive, which could open up some other possibilities, right? Did I cut out?
Hey, I want to say one last thing. If any of you guys do move forward with any of this, please post it. I mean, please talk on the investor channel so we can all know and choose whether to get involved and try to help. So
Okay. Yeah. So there is a group of folks that have been, individually reaching out and being very, helpful and supportive. We're thinking about gathering, the folks that are really interested in kind of helping pushing forward something and getting everybody in a room. Would you be interested in that? Who would be interested in that?
I would, Jonathan.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Steve, you can include me on that, Matt.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate it.
I think most of us here on the call, I mean, if we've already invested the time going through these investor meetings, et cetera, and we're here on this one, I think that, speaks for
That's
itself.
a good indication. Yeah, for sure. The one group that I want to make sure that we get involved is Fembushi, because they've also been very supportive and helpful. And so, I'll try to organize something in the next week just to get maybe a half an hour intro call just to kick around what's possible. And then maybe further it from there. If that makes sense. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I will post this recording up probably later today, and then it's still fairly early here, so I'll do it tonight, and then we'll keep in touch.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
All right.
All right.
all right, thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone.